talked to him over a mug of coffee. She did not like him. There was a certain secret look in his eyes that she only half understood but disliked. But now that her father was dead, and the terrible sense of loneliness was crushing her, she felt she would be glad to talk to even the fur trader. She unbarred the door and let him in. Conrad Owen entered, stamping the snow from his boots and blowing on his hands.
"Good evening to you, Joe,"
he said. She did not answer, but pointed mutely to the still body of John Grey under his fur rug. Conrad Owen uttered a low whistle and walked up to the bed. Then he turned to the girl.
"Yes, he died at dawn," she said. "You knew he was ill when you last passed our way."
"Sure, I knew that, but I'm sorry he's gone."
"Yes,"
said Joanna. Her voice quivered with pain. The man looked at her while he unbuttoned his bearskin coat and took off his round fur cap. He looked at her curiously. A strange, wild little thing, Joanna Grey. He admired her spirit. More than that, he wanted her beauty, the redness of her lips, and the soft, pale curve of her throat. There was no girl like this for miles around, none so soft, so pretty, so virginal, and at the same time so untamed and fierce. And old Grey was dead, and the girl was alone. That was news. He walked up to her, thumbs in the lapels of his leather jacket.
"What are you going to do, kid?"
he asked.
"I don't know,"
she said wearily.
"You got no relations?"
"None that I know."
"Where'd he come from?"
"London."
"Why'd he come out to the Yukon? For gold?"
She resented the cross-examination. She answered reluctantly,
"I don't know much about it."
That was true. She knew so little. John Grey had never told her very much about his past. She only knew that when she'd been a baby of 5, her mother had died, and he, at that period of his life, drinking heavily, had, because of some shameful deed, something connected with forging a cheque, left England forever. He had brought her out to the Yukon. For all these years they'd been everything to each other. He had made gold and lost it again. Now illness had overtaken him, and death put an end to the striving. He had died as he has lived, a failure. Poor, lovable, weak John Grey. And he had left her, his Jo, with nothing in the world. He who would have given her everything. She moved away from Conrad Owen.
"I shall go to Fort Yukon later when my father is buried,"
she said brusquely. Conrad Owen passed a forefinger over his lips. He stood watching her, thinking. He was a handsome man in his fashion. Huge, muscular, but coarse and florid. Yellow hair and china blue eyes gave him a Germanic appearance. He had a loose mouth, and that way of looking at her which caused her uneasiness. She walked into the adjoining room, which was a kind of kitchenette, and where she slept herself.
"You'd like food and coffee,"
she said. He followed her.
"Joe," he said, "look here. No need for you to be all alone, kid. No need to trail to Fort Yukon by yourself. You come along with me."
"No thanks, Conrad,"
she said.
"Sure, why not?"
"I'd rather be by myself. I shall get work."
"Work? You? A baby?"
He jeered. She swung round.
"I'm no baby. I can take care of myself."
"A woman, then. The chaps'll rush for you."
"Let them rush. I can take care of myself,"
she repeated with fierce pride. Conrad Owen rubbed his hands together. He gave a little low chuckle. John Grey lay dead in the next room. Little Jo was most desirable. Many times when he had dropped in here for rest and food on his way down the trail, he had desired her. He might even marry her, the little kid. His eyes gloated over her, moved from her curly head to her small